Hi, welcome to Understanding A Course in Miracles. And today's topic is, what is prayer according to A Course in Miracles? So the short answer is that prayer is the medium, the vehicle, the channel, the instrument, the avenue, if you like, to bring in miracles into being. So before I go deeper into this topic, I just want to give a quick recap in case you haven't seen my previous video about the meaning of miracles according to the Course. So miracles are described as being expressions and extensions of the infinite love in your lived awareness and experience. Miracles are always maximal expressions of love, no matter what their seeming form or appearance. Maximum means the utmost, highest, the maximum. So therefore, a miracle is the utmost, highest, maximum expression of love possible. Therefore, a lost child who's found, or someone who's in spontaneous remission from cancer, or a family reconciliation after years of bitter estrangement, the end of a person's phobia of spiders, a criminal turning over a new leaf and working to help others who had the same problems he had, or someone recovering from alcoholism or drug addiction. All of these are examples of the healing effect and consequences of expressions and extensions of love. So though to us some of these examples may seem bigger or more impossible than others, all of these are equal miracles according to this course, and no miracle has more value than the other. So a miracle may not always result in physical healing or some other kind of physical outcome in the external universe. A miracle may also be an internal shift towards inner peace. But healing of some kind, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or situational, is the outcome or natural consequence of these maximal expressions of love. So the miracle is the expression of love, and healing is the outcome or result. And the Course says that unless a miracle actually heals, it's not a miracle at all. Additionally, miracles can have far-reaching, long-ranging effects that we may never be aware of for long afterwards. They just keep paying themselves forward. And lesson 137 of the workbook says, as you let yourself be healed, you see all those around you or who cross your mind or whom you touch, or those who seem to have no contact with you, healed along with you. Perhaps you won't recognize them all, nor realize how great you're offering to all the world when you let healing come to you, but you are never healed alone. And legions upon legions will receive the gifts that you receive when you are healed. According to the Course, miracles are not spectacles to make others believe in God or in your own power. Even if we interpret a miracle in the traditional biblical sense of the word and look at the miracles in the New Testament Bible, for example, these miracles were also performed as acts or expressions of God's love. They weren't performed for the purposes of Jesus showing off. Hey, look at me, see what I can do. They were performed, for the most part, to alleviate suffering completely. Even in the case of the story of the wedding at Cana, where water was turned into wine, this was done just to be helpful. And so the story goes, he was quite reluctant to do it in the first place. And there are accounts of people in the biblical stories being healed and Jesus telling them not to tell anybody about it. So clearly the miracles weren't being used as a demonstration or spectacle to manipulate people into believing in God. Even in this literal, traditional context, miracles were acts of love and helpfulness. So I'm now going to move on to the topic of this video, which is what is prayer, according to ACIM. As I said at the start, the author describes prayer as the medium or the vehicle for miracles, or expressions and extensions of love. Miracles are the result of communication or communion with the infinite. And communion with the infinite is what A Course in Miracles calls prayer. True prayer involves listening to the voice of the infinite. And by the way, I usually refer to God as the infinite because the term God is tied up with images and connotations of an old man with a beard sitting on a throne in the sky. And that version of God is not really what we're talking about here. So, true prayer is communication. True communication involves listening, not just saying your piece and then putting the phone down before God has a chance to reply. A YouTube personality that I follow often says, God answers all prayers, and sometimes the answer is no. And I was reading tweets on the tweet of God Twitter account the other day, and one of God's tweets said, when I start talking to you, you should start talking to a mental health professional. But joking aside, there is a very serious point here. You'll never be counseled or guided to hurt yourself or harm others if you're receiving true guidance. If you think you're hearing voices that are telling you to hurt yourself or others, then this is a mental health situation and not a divine communication. Sometimes the language of prayer is silence, silent abidance, simply being in the company of infinite being. A day or two before the dictation of A Course in Miracles began in 1965, Professor Bill Thetford asked his colleague, Helen Schuckman, to intercede on his behalf and ask how he could best receive guidance in meditation, as she does. The short answer to his question was to use a very short phrase like, "Here I am, Lord," and don't think of anything else. Just pull in your mind slowly from everywhere else and center it on these 4 words. But the long answer to Bill Thetford's question about how to receive guidance and inner wisdom during meditation is basically the whole text of A Course in Miracles and the workbook of 365 lessons. And in the early days of the dictation, the course was sometimes referred to as Bill's course. The dictation was received through his colleague, Dr. Helen, but the course can be viewed as a gift to Bill Thetford, and he continued to practice it for the rest of his life. And one of the things that the author said to Helen Schuckman before the dictation of the course began was, "This is not a selfish gift," referring to her gift of being able to hear intuitive inner guidance naturally. He said that hers was a gift to be shared, and she shared it through her transcribing of A Course in Miracles, which became a gift not just to Bill Thetford, but to all the other students that followed, including us. In the beginning, when Helen Schuckman first started to receive dictation from the inner voice, she asked the author whether the communication she was receiving was a kind of miracle. He said no, and that there was nothing special about their communication. The only thing miraculous was the universal miracle she'd received. And he described the universal miracle as an intense experience of love. Then added that she shouldn't be embarrassed about it because things that are true are not embarrassing. The text and workbook of A Course in Miracles are basically instructions on how to hear the right voice, the voice of the true guidance and inner wisdom, which the author refers to as the Holy Spirit. And the course is also a dissertation on how to disregard the voice of the wrong mind, which the author refers to as the ego. So through this communion or true prayer, you receive the infinite love, and through the miracle, you extend and express your experience of the infinite love. So we receive love through our communication with the infinite, and then we extend and express this love that we've received to others. And this expression and extension of the love that we've received from the infinite via communication, communion, prayer is the miracle. If you lean more towards the non-dual perspective of A Course in Miracles or non-duality in general, then prayer can simply be viewed as turning within and connecting to the one source of infinite love. or the infinite presence, or the I am, or the oneness, or the singularity, whichever term or terminology you prefer. This turning within, this connection, is the medium or avenue which brings miracles into existence. And to recap, the 4 words given to Bill Thetford as an introduction to prayer and hearing inner guidance and wisdom was, "Here I am, Lord." Later on in the 90s, the author, through another human channel, offered another 4 words as an instructional recommendation on how to hear divine guidance. These 4 words were, "Shut up and listen." So those are 2 options out of many for turning within and connecting with Source. Until the next time, thanks for listening.